Hey, I'm Ron Drotos from keyboardimprov.com, and welcome to our journey through the real book number 223, which is Wayne Shorter's Mahjong. Wayne Shorter is one of my maybe 5 favorite musicians. Let's see, Keith Jarrett, Wayne Shorter, Gil Evans, Stravinsky, Bach, Duke Ellington. So 5 or 6. And of course there's others, really whoever I'm listening to at that moment, if I like their music, is my favorite. But if I had to pick who's really influenced me the most, it would be those, in terms of very famous musicians. So Mahjong, 1965. Let's look back and see what was happening then, right? Because we don't want to just look at the notes of the page. We want to understand it, right, in terms of how to learn these standards. So 1965 was a time of great change in the musical world, in jazz. It was the avant-garde was already well established. Ornette Coleman, Charles Mingus, Coltrane was going there, Wayne Shorter, Miles Davis's quintet was in full blossom with ESP and these great boundary-pushing recordings and live performances where musicians were saying, what's it like to perform where we don't even play with chord changes? We just make it up as we go along, or we play music that doesn't adhere around a tonal center in the usual way, right? And also pushing the envelope rhythmically too. So Wayne Shorter is mostly associated with the Miles Davis quintet, right? We think of Wayne Shorter playing sax and Herbie Hancock playing piano, like they did in the group many times since then, and also on a lot of Wayne's recordings as leader with Blue Note. But this one's a little different. This is with John Coltrane's rhythm section, McCoy Tyner on piano, Reggie Workman on bass, Elvin Jones on drums. So instead of these Herbie voicings, whatever. Herbie might play. You get things in Herbie and McCoy Tyner with these open fifths and these fourth voicings. And you combine that with this sort of polyrhythmic playing that Elvin Jones would do on drums, and this big sort of swampy feel. That's what they brought to this album. So if you want to hear Wayne play sort of in the Coltrane umbrella rather than the Miles Davis umbrella, Juju. The name of the album is Juju, J-U-J-U, and Mahjong's on that. So it says Afro Latin here, and I think that's their way of trying to say this swampy Coltrane type polyrhythmic feel. Is it straight eighths? Is it swing eighths? It's somewhere in between, to me at least. More towards maybe the straight eighths, but not really. And it very fluid rhythmically. It definitely has some sort of a 6 feel layered on the 4, which is perhaps going in that sort of African tradition. But so it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. But you get that triplet, 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 quarter note triplet feel over it, which is in a lot of jazz anyway. It's sort of in the background, but it comes to the fore in a lot of this music. But Elvin Jones is playing about 30 rhythms at the same time on drums. So listen to the recording to get some sense of how it would go. It's like many of Shorter's tunes, it combines some very fresh harmonic elements of the time, like modal playing, and chords that don't go where you think they're going to go, and some traditional elements too. So it begins with this F minor 11th to E flat 6/9, which you could use the F Dorian mode over. Right? So you get some modal sounds, but at the same time, because we're alternating between 2 chords, we're not staying on one chord modally like Miles Davis' So What would do, for instance. You get some harmonic variety in there while we can play modally. So it's kind of a nice best of both worlds situation. And you can view this in terms of pairs of chords. So you have the F minor to the E flat major sound over and over again, repeating. And then in measure 9 of the tune itself, it just approaches the E flat from below instead of above. The F went F down to E flat. This is going to go D flat major up to E flat. So Wayne's just revolving this around E flat, but he's approaching it from F down to E flat, and then later on up from D flat up to E flat. So you get these nice modal sounds. And there you have to start including the D flat in the mode. So it's a little shift, a subtle shift in the modes. And then the bridge goes into swing, and it's much more traditional. Well, as traditional as we can get, starting on D7 sharp 9, going to E flat. But there's a 2-5-1, E flat minor 7, A flat 7, D flat major 7, and then it looks like a 2-5-1 to B, D minor 7 to G flat 7, like F sharp 7. That would go to B, but then it goes down a half step to F minor 11th. So it's kind of like that G flat 7. It's almost like it's a tritone substitution for the 5 chord. So you go down a half step from a dominant to the 1. It just slides down there, sort of, okay, we're going this way, 2-5, not 1, but flat 2 to 1. So those are the 3 elements of the tune. So it's very modal for the A sections. And then the bridge is a little more traditional with some 2-5-1s, well, 1-2-5-1 and a 2-5. But at least you can sort of say, okay, I know what I'm doing here, and you can play through the changes there. And then you go back to the modal playing for the final A section, which is like the first. Great tune. So I'm going to just dive into it. And I think with solo piano, we don't have a drummer playing a million rhythms, or, you know, I don't want to sound exactly like McCoy Tyner. He's actually influenced my playing a lot in terms of keyboard texture, but I don't have that same type of, what's the word, sound that he would get from the piano. I don't hit these open fifths really high, hard. I might do something more like, that might be how I'm influenced by McCoy Tyner personally. So here we go. I'm just going to start with this vamp and just try to get some sort of soup cooking here, if you will, stirring the soup here. Let's see how this goes. great, great tune to play. So much is there, as we talked about in the beginning, with the modal sections that sort of just shift very subtly between the modes, and then particularly from the first A section to the B when we add the D flat. And then the bridge is a little more traditional. We can sort of swing, open it up, and then come back to that modal section. And there's so much here. We don't have to have that same hard-hitting edge that they did on the original recording. We can soften it a little bit and then bring that in when we want to, or wherever you land on that sort of not timeline, just the line from very hard-hitting here to more soft and introspective over here. We can bring a lot of that to a modal tune like this. So enjoy. It's not a tune that is played that much. You know, if you're going to bring it to a jam session, make sure you bring some copies of the lead sheet or something. You can't just call out, hey, let's play Mahjong, you know, like some of the other Wayne Shorter things, like Speak No Evil or Fee Fi Fo Fum, which more people might know. So I invite you to check out the tune for yourself and then bring it to some jam sessions and share it with others. Thanks for being here. If you're interested in playing piano with less stress, more joy, just have more fun with it, some links below that you can check out. Thanks again for your support, and anything I can do to help you on your journey, let me know. Remember, let the music flow.